let's plant potatoes. Now, before you say anything, I know you got to buy seed potatoes and this and that, and they could have this and that. I don't care. I don't care. This was a bag of store-bought white potatoes, which I don't think I've ever cooked with, that my husband picked up, and really quickly they started forming these eyes, but not like other potatoes. You know how potatoes have eyes that sort of pop up all over them? These had them just in one space. So I have these 6 raised metal garden beds, which are going to be perfect because I just put in a bunch of new garden beds. So I don't know what I'm going to plant here. So I'm going to plant these in part of one. And look at the eyes. You'll see what I'm talking about if you plant potatoes, or even if you don't, you can see what I'm talking about. It's just like a purple, green, beautiful clump of something. So I'm going to plant it like a bulb with the opposite side down and the growth side up. And I'm going to let it stick up above the soil a little bit. This is not that big of a deal to me. Before anybody comes for me and they're like, you should buy seed potatoes because there's no hormones or disease or whatever. I don't care. If I buy potatoes from the store and I eat the damn potatoes from the store, then if I get anything out of this harvest and it looks good, we can eat that too. So let's settle that right there. So I have nutrient-rich soil here. I don't 100% know what potatoes like. If I had to guess, I would think maybe nitrogen. I don't know. But I have some, not compost, some mulch on top of it, but it's pine needles and oak leaves that fell from the trees, which I left over the winter because that really helps suppress weed growth in the spring, as it did. But I'm going to remove that mulch from the area where I'm planting the potatoes because it's very acidic and I don't think potatoes like that. So in my Amazon storefront, which is linked in my bio, I have these raised garden beds. And I also have these tags and this marker. You want plastic tags and you want a special garden marker because Sharpie will fade in the sun. And even though they feel kind of flimsy, the tags, this is one from last fall, the beginning of the fall, and it lasted through the winter and it didn't crack and it didn't fade or anything, which is great. So this is just like a fun project. You could do this with your kids also. It's a great kind of science experiment, showing them how to plant potatoes. If you have other potatoes that have eyes that are all over them, you can actually cut those potatoes into, like, say it has 4 different eyes, cut it into 4 sections, each with an eye, let the cut side harden over for a few days, and then plant each one. But that's not what we're doing here. So I'm just going to plant it like a bulb and put the growth side up, and I'm going to leave it above the soil a little bit so it gets some sun and it gets the rain, and we are going to see what happens. If I get nothing, then worst case scenario, this will compost down and add to the soil. When I do harvest them, if I get a harvest, then what I'm going to do is cut the leaves off. Potatoes give you a lot of leaves, and I'm going to drop them right where I planted these, and they are going to work themselves back into the soil and break down. This soil had a lot of worms in it, and that's what I did last season. So that's how you can build up your soil. So I'm excited to see what happens. Let me know, are you growing potatoes?